And welcome guys to another little tutorial. Now in this tutorial we are going to be doing a couple refactors, and what I'm going to be introducing is into our NPC like health and other health systems that we're probably going to create for ourselves. We're going to have a rechargeable or healable armor or possibly health. I mean, you could easily convert something over or whatnot, but I decided to do armor because of, well, maybe you are doing a futuristic game, or you can always convert it over to health. It's actually quite easy. But to get this into Notion, we have a little bool for auto healing in case you want to make this some kind of unlockable or a talent. And I've rewritten some of the code for a lot of other things. Now we have this array here for damage typing. I did it in an array, but you can always change it over to single variables. And we got fire time and weapon range, smoothing, and this I made some changes to the event system. So now the event system handles all the cursor lock stuff. So when we're running around and stuff like that, we have our, mouse thing locked up, and nothing actually works too much if the lock cursor is, in the lock position. I mean, unlocked. We can't run, or our guns don't move around silly, or any of that silly stuff. So how can we achieve this? You're probably asking, and I went through some profiling and stuff like that for this. Is a really low computer, and the reason why I picked the lowest computer is so that I get readouts that are quite easy. That's why my CPU usage taps up so high, is because it's a very low CPU. And this is what I want to gauge my project. See how we got physics? It only spikes up when we actually shoot. Our scripts, we have a lot of scripts for this one player, okay? But I'm actually using a character controller as well. So I have physics. This uses physics as well. So it's kind of heavy, I think, but not too. I think I could get better performance out of a rigid body controller, but it's all a matter of, well, let's say perception, how you see it. And we still have our blocked weapons, and we haven't done too much with this yet because I am still deciding if I want the newer UI, Unity's UI thing, if I want it to be runtime, or if I want this to be like a special scene where you go in and customize weapons and then leave. Because the draw calls for the UI itself, I think, would be a little high for it, because I'm going to integrate gun skins and everything else, change the scope, all that good stuff into it. So it's kind of one of those things. So, and I haven't done anything with slot player yet. This is going to be for future proofing on interacting with cars and other stuff. So let's go into the event system at first, okay? And we'll see what we can get on with that. So let's go into some code. Okay, this is the player event system. Okay, now we added some stuff to here. You guys probably haven't seen this in a while, or you probably have. We have a weapon mode delegate, which I haven't hooked up yet. And we can delete this because I don't think I'm going to use it. And we have a couple static bools. We have a static bool m underscore cursor is locked equals true. Okay. Now we have two of these because I want this one to be public. So if I don't want this stuff to happen, I can just turn this to false and it'll never lock my cursor or nothing like that. Like some type of loading, you know. Let's say I'm loading my character into the scene, and you know, I just want him to load. I don't want all this other stuff going on, and I want the cursor to be in the unlocked state. To shortcut some other stuff. I don't know. It could be an option, you know. So I put this static getter to return this value because I want this to be publicly accessible. Like just publicly accessible. I don't care about some other stuff. I just want this to be accessible through a direct reference, like right off the bat. Okay. And in our update, we do update cursor lock. And if cursor lock equals false, we just return. We bail out of all these things right here if it's, you know, in the unlocked position. Now, set cursor lock equals a value, and we just do this stuff. Okay, we do the opposite and everything. The unlock cursor does the input stuff. It's basically what you'd call it. If we go up with the escape key, lock equals false. If we push the button up on mouse 0, which is our fire button, so basically when I hit the button and then release it, we'll hit the lock cursor as true. We make it true because we want the mouse cursor to, you know, do its thing, right? Which we'll be changing this a little bit in the near future. So, because we're going to put another thing in here because of our menu system, we're going to have is menu off, so that way it doesn't do this stuff again. Okay. And then if cursor is locked, we select it, else this. That's it. It just returns the value true or false. That's about it. I mean, it's really, really simple. And I put this in the player event slotted class, but you can make your own class for it. It's a reference name. And two, I already have an update going. I mean, literally, I already have an update going, so we don't really need to bother with that yet either. Okay, and I don't know why this is wanting to save, but okay. So in our NPC, or let's go into our not weapon actions, not disable. We've already seen that, I believe. Let's go in our basic player, because that is where our update happens for this class. This is abstract class, yada yada, and I made changes into this class as well because I didn't see the point in doing certain things. Now we have our start with our initial stuff. That's cool. Now and this is what I mean by a direct reference. I'm just comparing the bool, just like you would in this script, except I'm calling player event system, the actual class, get lock, which is our static getter. So I have access to this everywhere in the project. It's as long as that script is in the scene, I have access to it. It doesn't give me a null reference or something really ridiculous. So if it's false, then we return, which means I exit out of all this. Now you're probably thinking, well, this doesn't look like a player controller update, right? Well, it actually is. See, we've got the controller.move, okay, which is the move function, and we go by time.delta time, okay? And then we got move direction, which you know is a vector 3, okay? Move direction is a vector 3. And then we go player, walk, run, jump. We give it speed, jump speed, our horizontal and vertical values, and is grounded. And is grounded is just a private bool, okay? And we set it actually up here in our if statement, okay? If grounded equals this, boom. Okay, so if it actually equals false, this will never execute. It's really a shortcut to set a value and also make a false statement right off the bat without some crazy other lines. You can make it explicit, but I didn't see the point in it. So we've got move direction, we've got that, okay, horizontal and that. Okay, so this returns a vector 3. So let's go into our script where this is reference. Okay, go to reference. Alright, so this is just a vector 3, okay, and is grounded is a past end value here, so it does its whole thing. Now move direction, we set it with horizontal, vertical, and I put this -1. And the reason why I do this is a lot of times I get a lot of calls from the physics engine if I had 0. If I have -1, it seems like it stays in contact with the ground a lot more. So when it happens, I stay on the ground more, and I don't get these like fidgety, like little here and there's. Like the physics engine before I put the -1 would go, it would go make a bunch of calls for is grounded, grounded, is grounded, grounded, is grounded, grounded, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here? This is kind of dumb. Okay, it's just making a bunch of calls unnecessary. So I'm like, how about we just put a negative number there, okay? Because if he's not grounded, he's doing it anyway, right? By gravity. Oh, and this is another thing. I use the physics.gravity.y, and this is the global variable for the y for your actual physics. And I did this time.delta time here, you know, because I want it to be frame rate dependent. It will adjust between frames. That's what this does. It returns the seconds in between a frame. The time in seconds it took to complete the last frame. Read only. So you can't set this or nothing like that, but you can get this stuff, and it's cool. And then we actually will go move direction, which is a vector 3. Okay, which I put this player mono behavior. Okay, I put a public vector 3 here because every single player that we have in the game will probably have a vector 3. If you have a rigid body, more than likely you're using translate or setting the velocity of the rigid body to move it around, and you're going to be using a vector 3. Translate, you're using a vector 3. Character controller, you're using a vector 3. So why not put a variable that's permanently there for all players by a vector 3? I mean, it's just common sense, right? Instead of generating one at runtime or something like that, or whatever. I just made it one, just right off the bat. And that's how I come up with these. Okay, transform dot, this takes a direction from local space to world space. Basically, you know, you have your motion for the ocean here, and you translate it into a direction that's relevant to yourself. I mean, it's no big deal. And then you times them by speed. Yay! And you get a vector 3 that's dependent on speed and whatnot. If get button jump, you hit that, you put move dot y equals jump speed, and then you also calculate the physics as well, and then you do the character dot move. Yeah, okay, whatever. And this is the same way down here. Oh, I didn't put -1 here. Yep. We need to change that because that's going to be a pain in the butt. I'll be looking at myself like, what the heck's going on here? Okay, and same way here, jump speed, we did the physics thing, then we just return. We return basically this, okay? Which is fine. I mean, you could always go up here and go new vector 3, blah, but then you got the garbage collection, and that kind of sucks. So in our basic player, we now have the move direction here calculated and all that good stuff. So controller.move, move direction times by time.delta time. And this now moves our character around with jump, and it's all fine and dandy. I mean, like really, it works just fine. I love it. Works great. You know, we have our start, our ranges. Why do I have this up to 50? Speed and jump speed should never go. Yeah. Let's limit that on the slider. You shouldn't go above, not 530. 30 would probably be like still extreme, but there's no sense in, you know, because that's, I could see maybe some low gravity or something, you know, slow down your gravity, blah blah blah. Character controller, and that should be it for this class. Okay, let's go on. Let's see how far we made it. We got another 10 minutes at least. And we talked about that, so we can get around that script. And this one hasn't changed, so running, bloop. Should I talk about the weapon? Actually, no. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into our health slot, and you're going to go, wait a minute, I've seen this script before, and it was a lot longer. And you're right, it was a lot longer, and I didn't like it. And two, I found the direction that I wanted to take the script was I was doing a whole lot of divisions, okay? Which is fine, I mean, you know, but each function, all it did was divide a value. Okay, so basically I would go take damage on electrical damage, and then I would give the damage, and then divide that by my resistance, and then it would come out to a float to subtract for health. And I'm like, well, the problem with that is I'm sitting here doing this maybe 4 or 5 times, and you know, this is all I'm doing in this simple function. So what I did was I put public virtual damaging, okay? I give it a damage object, take damage, float for each kind of damage that I wanted, and then if I just added them all here, and then to go health plus equals real damage. Or shouldn't it be minus equal? Actually, I think it should be minus equal. Right? Minus equal? Yeah, I screwed up there. Big time. Good thing I was overwriting this when I was testing it. That's why I never came up with this function, or I would have figured it out by now. Whoopsie! And then I have an update here. Damageable, which we're still using it to initialize stuff. And then I have a die feature, which I just destroy the game object. This is temporary code right here. This is temp code and is awaiting a real void call of sort. Oh, wow, that really didn't work out the way that I wanted. Okay, let's just delete it and go on, because that's kind of dumb. So we'll do that, and I'll save that since I changed that. Now, here is the meat of the script here. Okay? The meat of the, well, let's see how far it is. 18, 20. Do I really want to? Maybe I should kind of make this an entire video, because I've got to. Well, I'll get started on it. When we go to our slot health, we are inheriting for our own little keepsake on here on NPC damageable. Okay, we have resistances here, which are relevant to only this script. Okay, we have an armor value, we have a max armor value, and then we have a recharge rate. Okay, the rate in which it heals ourselves. Okay, then we have a charge rate. This is used to set the next update. Basically, once we heal ourselves for the recharge rate here, we will set our recharge time to this time, the recharge time. This is only for internal clocking, okay? So it starts off at 3, and then our recharge time will be added to this. Okay, and we have a public bool for auto heal, which I defaulted to false. And here's the thing, if public override void, this is an update, if auto heal equals false, or we've took our mouse and went someplace else, we shouldn't auto heal. Like if we're in a menu or maybe a pause screen or something like that, I don't think the player should be able to heal. Okay? But this code right here is just pretty much my thinking here. You could take this out and just have auto heal equals false, and you'd be fine. Okay? Now, remember me saying this is a recharge time that we're incrementing? This is what it means. If we are less than 0 and armor does not equal max armor, so our timer says we're below 0 and armor does not equal max armor, then we execute some code. And what this code does is armor plus equals recharge rate. Okay? And this is the rate in which you heal right here. Okay? Right? Recharge rate? Yeah. And then our charge timer, we have an equal charge time. See, this is the one that we're moving constantly, and this is the one that we want it to equal. So when this gets done, and it's doing all that good stuff. As in, like, here's the loop, we do this, and then it comes back around, does another loop, and you know how update works, and then it does another one. When it comes back around from the first time to the second one, it will not execute this code again because our recharge time has been set here. So it's like this happens once, and then it's above 0. Okay. And 2, since we've incremented the armor, it may not be the max. It may still need healing, but if this ever returns like true, like the armor is, let's say, the same value as your max armor, then guess what? You're good to go. Okay. So now we have this one. If recharge time is greater than 0, then we get rid of some timers. So this does is it takes a charge time, the one that we're moving around, and it goes C rate, and we pass in itself. And what this does is it just subtracts time.delta time. Okay, that's all it does. Nothing fancy, nothing else. Because the reason why I did this is because maybe I want to have this do something completely different. And I don't want to mess up this code and make it like, how you say, make it do something silly and then have this catastrophic thing happen. Because maybe I want to have it plus 0.02, make it faster or something like that. And I can do that. I can make it count down faster based on another float, right? And this might be a good place to go, hey, I have a float player level, okay, and it equals, let's say, 2. So, alright, great. So the player is level 2, so let's increment our charging rate, which could be player level, right? I mean, that's how you can make it recharge faster and not change any of your basic code up here. You can just change this right here. You can always put this into the utility class that we made, and then go, hey, utility class. Now you're going to take another parameter, float player level, right? No big deal, right? So yeah, there's a few things that you can do here that's a little bit more flexible. Because I don't want to go and put it in here. I don't. Because this looks like a nice clean thing, because I know what it's doing, and that's it. Always make it more like easily understandable. When you write code, if it's real complex and you got big old long lines, a lot of times it could make it where you cannot understand what's going on. If it's harder to read, then it's easier to make a mistake. Okay? So now we have our damaging here. Okay? So this is the overridden method that we have now versus what we used to have. I mean, what we used to have was like really long. I had a function, and all it did was divide. Okay? So it kind of stinks. So now we're taking a damage object, our float for how much damage we want to take in this department, this department, this department, this department, and this department. Okay? It's real simple once you understand. Now, I put this float a values because I need a value that's always 0, and then it adds everything in. Okay, so recharge rate, and this recharge time right here, you're probably wondering, why do I have this here? Okay, and the reason why is because, okay, when you're sitting there shooting another player, okay, you don't want it to sit there and keep updating his health and then you can never kill him, right? It would be dumb, you know? You basically be shield tanking the whole time. That's not very fun. I mean, what if you're a player that just wants to kill an enemy and the enemy's got so much re-heal power that you just can't kill them? That's no fun. I mean, that would literally make me want to quit your game right there, because I can't get nowhere. Why bother with that, right? And that's the whole point of it. So I took this recharge time that always subtracts if it's below 0, and if it's not below 0, then because if this is greater than 0, my recharge rate is automatically shut off. Okay, and I just hard-coded 10 here for the minimal value and maximum value. This will automatically make it 10. Okay, I could just go 10 right here, but let's say in some weird situation somebody like tries to use art money or something like that on your game. Okay, well, they set it in a single call, right? And they try to whatever clamp it or whatnot. Well, this is basically being set every single time I damage you, okay? Which is great because it may not keep, it may keep the art money from putting this value to what they're trying to do, because it's happening so many times. Maybe art money only overrides it once, and then there you go. So it could be benefit, but yeah, you could always just put 10 right here or whatever. I just hard-coded that thing. You could always expose this in an editor or something, but I didn't see the point. Because 10 is a little bit, and then if your armor is greater than 0, A values, because it's armor, it takes basically all damages. I just put it all damages. I added every one of them up, and then subtract it from armor. Now, you're probably like, why are you taking the armor and clamping it from 0 to maximum armor? This only changes the value that visual to the person, okay? It doesn't change the actual stuff. So when I subtract this, okay, this can be a negative number. All right, this could be like a negative 50 or something like that. So I just clamp it right here. Because I don't really care about this value right here at this point. I just want the armor to be gone, right? And because this armor is gone, then it executes if armor is greater than 0, then we just return, okay? So basically, if the armor is greater than 0, we return out of here, nothing happens, okay? Now think about this. If the armor is greater or equal to 0, this will execute, all right? This down here will not. So we're basically swapping the logic around the next time we get hit, okay? So we take A values, which is automatically set to 0 from the get-go, okay? This isn't being executed because our armor is below 0. So A values hasn't been calculated or nothing like that. So we take our temp, which is our math damage, and we minus it. Okay, but in here we have this take damage plus A values, okay, which is leftover whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. And then armor is the armor resistance. Okay, so if there's any resistance or anything like that going on, you know, maybe it's like 0.01, something like that, it's just not a single integer one, then we'll have a little bit of resistance but not much. Okay, and then we plus damage math. Now damage math is a method that does one specific thing. Okay, and we should show you that it does one specific job. Okay, and it's gonna have to be in the utility class, right? Let's open that up. Ooh, this is actually a little bit longer than I am going to cut this video here and come back with the other half of it, because it's like 36 minutes already, and I don't think you want to keep. I don't want another hour-long video because people don't really like it. So this is Wardon over and out, and I hope to see you in the next one. If not, then thanks for watching, and peace, and have a nice day. See you guys.